lagi.
Hidup lagi. Hidup lagi. Ini apa ni? Babi ya?
Otak kau tergiling bodoh. Otak.
Go away. Don't come any closer. Greg, pass this idiot. I always had a problem with sleeping growing up. Many times I'd get sleep paralysis, but after I blessed my room, it hadn't happened in months. This happened to me about a year ago. I woke up in the middle of the night frozen. If I tried to move, I'd get a really loud ringing noise in both my ears. It would get louder each time I moved. I was terrified. I was too scared to open my eyes, but I felt a presence of someone in the room with me. My room isn't completely dark because I have a small blue nightlight. I open my eyes and see a very tall and dark figure with two horns on each side of its head, just standing there in the corner of the room facing me. I panic and try to move my body. The ringing gets louder and louder and louder, and I can feel myself crying. I close my eyes and in my head start saying, God will protect me. God will protect me. Then I hear a low, evil voice say,
God can't help you anymore.
This is the very first time I'm reading this. I'm scared. We make fun of little kids for one thing, leaving lights on everywhere. They turn lights on in every room as it's some sort of security blanket. And if you ever force them to turn them off, they cry and scream and eventually you give in. The only time they turn them off is with their parents. They feel safe, so very safe. I'm the monster that lives in your closet. I'm friends with the one under your bed and the one in the shadows. When you see us, you flee to your mommy and daddy. But we're not here to hurt you. We're here to protect you. If you think we're scary, just wait till you see their true form. They masquerade as one of you and you can never tell. You humans must be blind. Your true monsters sleep just down the hall. They pretend to love you, but it won't last. They try to convince us to let them in, but don't worry, we really love you and we will protect you. So when you see a shadow flit or a figure in the closet, remember, we scary monsters protect you from the human ones, so you're safe with us. For now. When I was a little girl, I used to read at night. I always kept my closet light on. It flowed from underneath the door and dissolved the issue of darkness with white brilliance. Warm, inviting. I felt so comfortable that I would forget to turn it off afterwards, but one night, it turned itself off.
Disclaimer, do not watch this during the night. Paranormal. Imagine you never believed the stories your mom would tell you about the lechuzas, witches, that you got told since a little kid, and decided to make fun of it not only once, and didn't learn your lesson the first time, but you did it twice. It turns out, a boy who we're going to call Marco, since he was a little boy, he was known to be an outgoing little boy. Marco was always told as a little boy to go to sleep early because the devil could appear to him at midnight. Where Marco lived, the houses would be alone with a bunch of trees around the houses. Once it started to get late at night, the moms of the kids who were playing soccer outside would come out and tell them to come back inside the house. One night, Marco and his friends were having fun playing soccer late at night, and suddenly, all the moms of his friends and his mom came outside and told him to come inside urgently. Marco didn't want to go inside. He was having fun with his friends, and he said no, and asked why to his mom. His mom told him there was a witch, a lechuza, in the tree making weird noises. Marco, at the moment, decided to scream out loud, "Come tomorrow to my house for lemon and salt," jokingly mocking la lechuza, and he went back home after he mocked the lechuza. The next day, Marco came back home from school, and surprisingly, that day, there was no one home. He never had the house to himself. Usually, his mom or dad would be at home. Marco was happy he had the house to himself and was having a blast, having fun, singing, and doing whatever he wanted to do. All of a sudden, around 1 in the afternoon, Marco heard a knock on the gate. It sounded like someone was tapping the gate. That's how Marco described it. Marco decided to check who was knocking at the gate of the door. Through the curtains, he could not really tell who it was at the gate door. It seemed like an elderly lady, and decided to go outside where the gate was and said good afternoon. And then a very raspy voice responded to him and said, "I came for my lemon and salt." Marco at the moment knew who it was and was terrified, and like a robot, he went back inside to his house. He went to the fridge and he grabbed the lemon and salt and a napkin, and like a robot, he went back outside, trying to process everything that just happened. As Marco was going towards the gate, he saw a wrinkly hand with long nails in between the gate. Marco gave the lime and salt to the wrinkly hand that was wide open in between the gates, and immediately the wrinkly hand with the immediate movement took the lime and salt and she left. Marco went back inside to the house trembling. He went and sat down and stayed frozen. About an hour, his family came back home, and his family saw something strangely weird about Marco. Since Marco was a really outgoing and active boy with a lot of energy, they saw Marco was being really quiet and sitting down the same spot an hour ago, and they found that really strange. When Marco got his consciousness back and processed everything that happened, the first thing he thought, good thing there was lemon and salt at the house. And he told his mom what happened with the lime and salt, and his mom started freaking out and said, "I'ma do an egg cleansing on you." His mom told Marco if there had been no lemon and salt, we would not found you at home when we came back from the store. Time passed and Marco once more made fun of the lechuza witch and mocked the lechuza. His mom came outside and she said, "Come running inside," because she had heard him. Marco stayed still like nothing was going to happen until he started to hear the strange noises on top of his head. It was already late at night. Marco started to run as fast as he could. As he was running, he was hearing something right behind him, something really heavy, and he heard someone told him to throw himself, and he threw himself in the street with his belly on the ground of the street and scratched himself on his belly. After that, he couldn't remember anything else. What had happened was that something was trying to grab him, but since he threw himself on the street, it didn't get the chance to grab him. When Marco got his consciousness back, he had broken his teeth in his back. He had a big scratch left behind. After that, he was never back to normal. What do you guys think? Have you ever experienced a lechuza? And if you have, please comment. I would love to hear your stories.
Check it out. Shapeshifter, right? That's what we're thinking. Okay, let's watch it again. This has been sent to me like 20 times for me to, analyze it to see what I think. Keep watching. Pay attention. Right there. That's the one that kind of gets me right there. You can see me snapping the screenshots while I'm watching this, trying to catch each frame, and that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at each frame on when it happens, and we're going to see what's going on. So first off, this is what we have, and I have to rule out every possibility. Is this a movie? I don't know, and I haven't seen it if it is, although I'm sure the comments will say it with no information or no links to back it up. If you do have that information, please back it up. Don't say it, because if you say it and you can't back it up, it looks pathetic. So let's get started. We see this first frame right here. You can see me snapping these frames, and I'm just going to show you through each one because we're going to look at it. This is a real thing. For me, it is. This is. I'm not saying this video. I'm saying that this phenomena is very real, I think, considering personal things I've seen. Now, this video is more than likely AI. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. But it might not be. So let's check it out. See this? Okay, now we see this. I've tried to lighten it up and clear it up, and look, usually when I do that, now I will say this, if it's artificial intelligence, it'll kind of gleam out, it'll fade out. I could not get the skull, the image to fade out whatsoever. I mean, it stayed solid, so that could have some authenticity to it. So let's check this next frame. Okay, then you can see this here, and actually I got those two frames crossed up, and the other one goes after this one. So let's watch this one. I'm not going to even go back try to correct the video. We'll just go back. All right, so this is actually the second frame. Okay, so check that out. All right, let's go back. This is third frame. Now, right before she turns all the way around, this is what happens. This guy looks terrified. I don't have him on this image, but this is what ends up happening. That's the same person right there. Now, is this an AI generated? Is it AI generated content where this guy just looks like that the whole time and they've added everything else to me? Who knows? I'll let you leave the comments. You tell me what's going on. Is this a shapeshifter?